Hello, Viking Nation. I'm here today with high school science teacher, Mr. Kent Williams, and third grade teacher, Mrs. Sarah Stassen. We have an important tech levy vote coming up on November 2nd. And question number one is asking for a $500,000 10-year levy to support our ongoing technology expenses we have here in our district. And these two teachers have been trailblazers in incorporating technology into their daily lessons. And to better understand the importance of passing question number one, I want you to hear from a couple of Minneota's finest, the ones that are in the trenches, using the technology every day, and who better to hear from than the actual teachers themselves. So Mr. Williams, Mrs. Stassen, welcome to the Viking Showcase.
Hi.
Hello.
All right, first question, we'll start off with Mr. Williams. You have both taught in this district for more than 10 years, which means that you've experienced teaching with and without technology in your classrooms. From your perspective, how important is technology when it comes to effective instruction?
Yeah, I would say that technology has become pretty crucial to what we do here every single day. I remember when I started back here in 2010, my very first training in Minneota was smartboard training. And I was fresh out of college, and I have to be honest, I had no idea what a smartboard was. No idea. So I get thrown into smartboard training, but instantly I knew that I loved it because instantly I had the ability to write on things, erase things very quickly, start it over very quickly, and use it for multiple classes instead of having a chalkboard, a whiteboard, where it took me time to write things constantly. So one, I think that it's really sped up instruction for our students. So the wait time for students is no longer there. Second, the ease of access has been amazingly changed for our students. When I first started, I had a big file cabinet where all my stuff was there. And if a student lost a copy, I had to go make another copy. Now all of the stuff throughout the whole year, the textbook, the practice work, my notes, everything is accessible to the students at 24/7. If they lose it, they know where a copy of it is. And so no longer are they waiting for me to find time to make a copy. They have it at their hands. So just ease of access and speed of instruction has really sped up over the last 10 years since I've been here. And we don't want to go so fast that kids aren't getting things, but if they lost something, well, in the past they lost it. It was gone. Here, it's always there, no matter what.
Mrs. Stassen?
Yes, I was just thinking about this the other day. I've been here a little longer than Kent. So when I first started teaching, we were just using blackboards and overhead projectors. And even though those things worked at the time, like Mr. Williams said, it wasn't like the ease and that's your fingertips. It wasn't as easy to do things as it is now. I teach 2 math classes for third graders and 2 science classes, and I can have all of my information ready for me and all of my lessons planned out through my smartboard. And then I have links connected to everything so that right away, there's never wait time. It's always, we're ready. We're not waiting for me to go and find something like Mr. Williams said, or waiting for kids. It's out, we're always ready. And I think I can't imagine a day without using some sort of technology. I know there's been times in the past where if there's a lot of testing going on during testing season and we're like, okay, we have to limit the internet use, I have a hard time switching back to doing non-technology related things. And I just think that technology is not going away, and our kids are so used to it. Even they teach me things sometimes. I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do this. But I think it's just all around so important to what I do and how effective we've been in what we're doing. I just can't imagine with any day without it. But like Mr. Williams said too, we never want to go over the top, but we definitely are doing so much more and so many more things that are innovative and creative ways that before we just did paper pencil. Now we're doing so many different things that it would be hard to ever not have that, or to even just say, oh, geez, what did we do in the past compared to now? And the kids love it. They really do. And they're very good with it.
Good. You don't miss the chalk on your hands and erasing the chalkboards.
No, that definitely took a long time. Like to have like a problem, like a math problem on the board. On my smart board, I can have all that ready for them. So there's no time wasted in writing up on the smart board. 368 plus 241. And then having one person come up. With technology, I'm able to like send that out to all of them and everybody practices it, not just one or two people on the blackboard.
Which is huge. And Mrs. Stossen was one of the first teachers to have a classroom set of iPad minis way back in the day. I want to say it was must have been 2013-14 school year. She's done great ever since you've had it. So you were one of the first ones and you had to teach a lot of people how to use it. But okay, next question. How do you specifically use technology in your classroom? You know, obviously the teachers here know what apps and programs are used and how it's used in the classroom. The kids obviously know, but this is more for the parents, the grandparents, the community members that don't sit in your classroom and they don't really know how you use technology. Can you explain the apps, the programs, how you use Google Classroom, kind of all that stuff? We'll start with you, Mrs. Stossen, first this time.
Okay, I figured you would ask this question, so I did prepare some things written down just so I wouldn't forget, because we use so many things every day. And it's funny because now starting the beginning of the school year, I forget some of the things that my third graders don't know how to do yet. So we're learning all those things. But one of the things that I use a lot is, and it's called Nearpod. It's an app that we use for presenting information. And within that app, I'm able to like teach my lesson, and then I can incorporate slides for kids to work on. And then they send me their answers and I can see everybody's results, and nobody knows whose they are. And I can look at those. I know who it is that's sending me the answers, but the kids don't. And I know who's doing what and who needs help. And then we can talk about some of the wrong answers without anybody knowing who had it wrong. And that's really valuable to kids to learn in a different way. Another one that we've started using Google Slides to make presentations. So like if we've done research something in science and then we make a slideshow and they learn how to use Google Slides, how to import pictures, how to make transitions, all those things that go with Google Slides that I think when we had computers a long time ago, it was something you wouldn't learn any of that stuff until you were in high school. So they're learning already in third grade how to do that. We also use apps that create digital books. We use those for math and for science, where last year we did all of like the vertebrate animals and they had to take each one and make a book on each animal. Or we use an app called Pic Collage and they make a poster where they have to go online and find pictures and they put their information, they can just type their information in. We use websites like they're called Kahoot quizzes, Gimkit, where it's comprehension. I can check their comprehension. Some of them are games. Some of them they can do individually, but when you play the game and they're playing against each other or they're playing as teams, it really gets them fired up and they don't realize they're learning or that I'm assessing what they're doing. So that's really cool. And we also use apps or websites like ABC, Prodigy, Splash Math to test mastery of skills we've learned. Again, they love them because in a lot of those apps, they have like, you collect coins and then you can buy things within the app and they think that's amazing. And we also have used in the past couple of years, especially with distance learning, Seesaw, which a lot of parents are used to, where teachers can push out assignments to students that way in the lower level, kind of like Google is for the upper grades. And they can work on those assignments and then they turn things into us. And then we can assess them there. And then parents also get to see that. They have access to those things. So those are just some of the ones that we use. But yeah, every day we're learning. Today we did a couple of Kahoots actually to just test knowledge of what we had already done yesterday and today. And they loved it. They love working. I think any kind of competition to them is amazing and fun. So we do a lot.
Yeah, you know, the Minnesota Vikings students are very competitive and
yes,
bringing that competition into the classroom is a huge deal and they love to compete. And even in math class, they like to compete. So Mr. Williams, what about on the high school side of things? What are you doing specifically with technology in your world?
Yeah, in my world, like I said earlier, Google Classroom has become integral to what we do. Every day when students come into my room, there's a question on my TV that's up here. And one, the TV's new technology and it's given real good clarity. I remember we used to have to turn the lights down in here when the bulbs were going on the smart board sometimes so that you could see the stuff. But now we have, really, really solid clarity for them. So that's really good. But there's always a question on my board when they walk in, and instantly when they walk in, they're starting to answer that question. And I get a sense of, well, do they know what we've been covering instantly? Because in the past it was, okay, take out your journals, write out something, and then every once in a while I'd have to collect journals and see if people were getting it. And I wouldn't know until a few days down the road. So, just instantly we get so much feedback. My tests and exams, a lot of them are online. And for students, some of them like this and some of them don't. They're nervous to hit submit on that exam, but you hit submit and instantly, on the multiple choice portions, how much and what you've gotten on your quiz. So some kids like that. They don't have to wait for feedback from me. Now it doesn't grade the essays. I take time to do that, but you're getting instant feedback from to those kids instantly. And then I would say, some of the other things that we've gotten would be like how we do labs. In the past, I had microscopes, and we've been fortunate to buy new microscopes within the last 6 years, I think. And so we have really good microscopes. In the past, I'd give them a slide and I would say, here, look at this slide. You want to find the cells that are dividing in the stages of mitosis. And I would just have to almost hope that they were finding the right thing. Now I have these things that fit over the microscope lenses, and kids can attach their cameras to it. And me and that student can directly look at this thing, and we can point at, oh, here's the cell that you need to do. Students can then take a snapshot of what they're seeing, and then instantly put that into their lab sheet. And so it's no longer guesswork of what they're seeing. And so just technology has grown so much in my classroom, and I think the kids like it a lot better. I know the hesitation of, well, I think I saw what you want me to see is there, but now we know. So that's certainly improving. And there are tons of apps that we use. I use Kahoot, something like the competition, where I get a good sense of, at the very end, it tells me what percentage of the questions were correct. And I get a sense of, do the students know what they're being asked to know very quickly. So just the speed of information coming back and going to the students is really improved.
Yeah, you heard both of you talked about the apps and the programs that we use. And we do as a district spend over $34,000 a year on subscriptions and apps and programs for these devices. And all of our pre through 12 students have devices. And so they're not just word processors. And we have to give you guys the tools. And the tools are these apps and online subscriptions, which can be spendy. But imagine if we pulled all that back and we want to keep moving forward, and we're going to keep moving forward with this stuff. And it's being a modern school and modern teachers. And that's the goal, to provide you guys with the tools to have that first class education. And so last question, going forward, how can you take things even further in terms of incorporating technology? And we'll start with you, Mr. Williams, and maybe hit on a little bit how important it is for these older students to really kind of have it down. I know you're getting your master's degree, and I'm guessing there's a lot of that is online. I know we had another teacher in our district that got a master's degree from Auburn University. He's never been on that campus. So a lot of these kids that are going on to higher education, we know that they need to have a lot of skills in the technology department. So talk a little bit about that. Where do you see it going in the future in your world? And then Mrs. Stassen will have you follow up.
Yeah, so I am getting my master's from Colorado State University right now. And one of the big things is it's 100% online. I have never stepped foot on that campus. And I may never step foot on that campus, but you need to know how to use technology to be successful. You have to. Just yesterday, I had an assignment where I had to record myself in a video and upload this to the school website so that the teachers could evaluate some information from me. And they're not going to teach you how to record a video. They're not going to waste that time. And so when students come into the college world, it is expected of them to have technology skills. And employers, they don't want to teach that either. You need to know your typing skills, your processor skills, Excel, spreadsheets, these things instantly. And let me give you an example of how this has changed just recently this year in in the science here at Minnesota. When I went to college at Morehead State back in 2004 to 2009, we were already using electronic sensors, things like gas pressure sensors or respirators to find out how much dissolved oxygen was in blood. And just this year, 2021, we finally got what's called vernier sensors, and we have gas pressure sensors now. We have pH sensors and temperature sensors. And the colleges that we partner with for our college courses here just expected us to already have these things on hand. And we were fortunate that we got some this year. Now we have 4 different types of sensors. There are hundreds of them out there. But when you go to college, they're expecting that you know how to use these things. It's no longer a scale with the weights that you put on to balance the balancing scales. No, they're digital scales, and you need to be able to print those things off into a digital world. And it's not just the science classes either. You think about the industrial arts community with all the CNC laser machines that are being at work here. Technology has just become integral to what we do here. And if we're going to prepare our students for the future, we can't leave them behind. If we do, we give them an unfair advantage as they leave.
Yeah, well said. Mrs. Stassen?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing as you were saying, Mr. Williams, that even in elementary, third grade, second grade, first grade, we're teaching them so many things to get ready so that by the time they get to you, Mr. Williams, they do have some of that background. They do have some of those things, and technology is not going away. Even from, like Mr. Free said earlier, I was the first group, my co-teacher and I were the first group to get iPads. And from what I know now, from what I learned back then, I've learned a ton. And every day I learn something new. And if I don't know it, I try to teach myself so that I can help the kids, because I know that no matter how much technology we know or what we can do, it's always changing and we're always trying to catch up to it. So like Mr. Williams said, I just want to make sure that I'm preparing students for life after high school so that, as it keeps going on, that we're all getting them to where they need to be, because I think that's super important.
Very well said. I think that the big takeaway for me is this levy question, in my opinion, is not frivolous. It's providing essential tools for our students. It's essential to use this technology and to spend this money on technology. We owe it to our students. So I want to thank you for taking the time to talk about technology in your classrooms. And these teachers have been fearless, and I've gotten to have a front row seat and watch them evolve as teachers. And they've been fearless in incorporating technology into their classrooms. And they've also taught their coworkers a lot of things and a lot of, how to, which has been great. So thank you for taking the time today. Thank you for being modern teachers and being so great for our kids.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you guys tomorrow. All right.